Hello, my name is Brian Hogan and I am presenting my final presentation for CON 598 on the design, build, innovation of Burns McDonnell. As a part of this presentation, I will give an introduction on Burns McDonnell and a brief history of the company as a firm. I'll then give a description of both design, build, and design, bid, and build, and compare the two so that the viewer has an understanding of what each process consists of. I will then go over the design, build, innovation of Burns McDonnell and show how it is not only more effective than design, build, but also more effective than the processes of other firms. I will then compare design, build of Burns McDonnell to the best value methods of Dr. Kashiwagi. And I will close the presentation by reviewing the future of design, build for the construction industry and for Burns McDonnell as a firm.
As previously mentioned, Burns McDonnell is one of the leaders in the industry, not just in design build, but in several other services. It is a full-service engineering, architecture, construction firm and is headquartered in Kansas City, Missouri. It is also 100% employee-owned and considered the number 16 best place to work by Fortune magazine. I will go into both of those later in the presentation. Burns McDonnell has 11 different global practices, which have kept it afloat during harsh times. Even when a certain global practice is down, another is there to carry. Those practices are aviation and federal, business and technology services, construction design build, energy, environmental services and permitting, global facilities, process and industrial, transmission and distribution, transportation, and water. This firm has been around for over 100 years and was founded in 1898.
Many feel that design build is a new form of project delivery, but it actually has a rich history. It has its origins back from thousands of years ago, the famous Hammurabi's Code, which eventually developed into the International Building Codes. Back in those times, they coined the term master builder, which was the initiation or the beginning of the single point of responsibility for design and construction. In 1993, the formal name Design Build was given by Design Build Institute of America, and from that we move into the description of the actual design build. The characteristics of design build back thousands of years ago are the same as what exists today. The main point is the single point of responsibility. In addition, there are multiple variations of design build, including contractor-led, designer-led, and integrated project delivery method, which I will go over later because that is the process of Burns McDonnell. Design build is also characterized by overlapping design and construction, meaning the actual construction can begin during the design. This is what makes it faster than traditional design build. Generally, there's a one-step or a two-step process for design build. The one-step process consists of a qualification-based selection for the winning design builder. The two-step process consists of a qualifications submission. From that list of subs, they are then shortlisted, and the winner is selected by proposal, the design builder with the best proposal. So it's a two-step process versus a one-step process. Design bid build, on the other hand, is the most common delivery method and the most traditional of all the different types. It is characterized by a design that is always fully complete before construction. It's always a linear process where it reacts just as it sounds: design, bid, and build. Design and construction are always separate entities and different contracts. And the general contractor is usually selected by low bid or negotiated. So what happens is the owner will hire a designer, an architect, and engineer. They'll design the project. They'll then bid that project out, either low bid or negotiated, to a general contractor. That general contractor will then build the building. And then the owner is ultimately responsible for the maintenance of that building. Now, that's a little background on both design build and design bid build. However, the biggest difference between the two are schedule, and the main difference is communication. As I mentioned, with design build, you can always start the construction while the design is still going on versus in design bid build where the design must be fully complete. The huge difference though is communication. In a design bid build job, you have separate entities. So usually the architect, the engineer, the general contractor are all separate parties who have their own best interests at heart, which can contribute to your lead time on materials, your review times for submittals, for RFIs, etc. On the other hand, design and build, you always have a party, whether it be separate companies or sometimes it's the same company that's under one contract for design and construction. Those parties are going to be significantly more interested in the best interests of the entire entity. Therefore, that's going to decrease your review times on your RFI submittals examples. For example, so you have generally on a project, you have a 3-week review time for a submittal. In a design bid build job, the architect is going to take that full 3 weeks because for the specifications, they can take that full time. Whereas in design build, they understand the importance of the schedule. They may try to push that submittal out within a week just to help out the general contractor, which ultimately helps out themselves. That's examples of the advantages of design build in communication. Now that we know the difference between design build and design bid build, it's important to know that neither design build or design bid build can be utilized on all projects. There are certain constraints such as budget, schedule, project type that are going to contribute to which design delivery method the owner will choose. For example, there are situations where design build cannot be utilized, such as the design must be fully completed for permitting or for accurate pricing, or there's some projects that are just too small to attract design build. On the other hand, there are projects where the owner wants significant involvement, and that typically doesn't happen in design build. So those are just examples of when you would have to use design bid build. It's just very important to note that there are constraints that are going to ultimately determine what project delivery method that a owner will select. As previously mentioned, Burns & McDonnell's design build process and their anomalous approach to it is not only more advantageous than the traditional design bid build approach, but it's also more advantageous than several of the design build techniques of many other design build companies. And I'll go into further detail why that's the case in my next few slides.
So what makes Burns & McDonnell design builds so innovative? There are several other companies that also have design build. In fact, Burns & McDonnell is only number 13 in the ENR Top 100 Design Build Firms. There are 12 other firms that are considered more highly ranked because they have more projects. This doesn't mean that their processes are any better than Burns & McDonnell. What Burns & McDonnell offers is integrated project delivery. What this means is that they are actually a true single point of responsibility. Burns & McDonnell offers both design and construction. So the communication between the design and construction teams is seamless. The contractors and the architects, the engineers all work for Burns & McDonnell. So even from conception until the end of the project, everybody has a sense of community within the company. The other main differentiator between the two is ESOP. That is Employee Stock Ownership Program. With Burns & McDonnell being 100% employee owned, each employee is an owner. So not only are all the workers working for the same company, so the contractor, the architect, the designers, they are also considered owners for the company of Burns & McDonnell. This gives them even more motivation for their own success, for the company's success, and most importantly, for the client's success. This is what I think separates Burns & McDonnell from the other companies. See the attached client review from one of Burns & McDonnell's many clients. Though Burns & McDonnell is ranked number 13 in the ENR for design build processes, as previously mentioned, is ranked number 16 in the top companies to work for. That is one thing that no other company on that top 100 design build firms can claim. Burns McDonnell's mix of employee stock ownership with ownership culture makes it an ideal place to work for all employees. Another interesting point about Burns McDonnell's design build is its relationship to the best value methods developed by Dr. Dean Kashiwagi in Arizona State University's Advanced Procurement Methods class. What we discuss in that class is information measurement theory. It was first published in 1991 at ASU and is used as the structure for optimizing effectiveness of information by creating easy to understand and information environments. IMT, short for Information Measurement Theory, utilizes the concepts of laws, conditions, and events to predict the outcome of situations. This is the same for the best value approach. It is not a change in process or steps, it is a change in paradigm. It is the attempt to create experts. The ultimate goal of both IMT and BVA is to minimize risk and increase project performance. Burns McDonnell adapts those approaches perfectly. It is of utmost importance to minimize the client's risk and to increase the overall project performance for a client. And I think their seamless transition between design and construction for design build purposes are what really makes Burns & McDonnell successful as a company for its clients.
In conclusion, the future of design build is bright. As construction continues to move to more streamlined, fast-track projects with high schedule demands, design build will continue to be utilized because of its decrease in the project schedules. In regards to Burns & McDonnell's approach to design build, they will continue to be one of the leaders because of their integrated approach and their innovation, as well as coupled with their employee stock ownership and an ownership culture. They will continue to be a leader in the design build world in a construction practice that's going to continue to trend toward design build, and they will not only continue to be one of the best places to work for, they will also be one of the best companies to work with. Thank you. This slide shows the references for the project. If you have any additional questions, feel free to contact me. My email is listed below. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation.